1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, we're back with another episode of Country and Cold Cans. I'm Logan, sitting here with Trucker Andy and Kyle. Be sure to give us 5 stars and a great review wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon, and Stitcher. We are available there. Check out the website, countryandcoldcans.com or coldcansnetwork.com. We've got blog content and a shop. Got t-shirts, hats, koozies, what have you. Check it out at coldcansnetwork.com/shop. All right, fellas. Andy, the post-co show, how are you doing?
Superbly.
Kyle, you missed a hell of a show, man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Kyle never goes to concerts.
No, I had to babysit dogs.
You had to babysit dogs?
Yeah, I couldn't leave them alone. And my parents were in West Virginia at a Reaver show.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And because it was their wedding anniversary, and Tammy and Mike were, who knows. So I couldn't just leave them all night unattended. So
that's fair. You were pulling the what I normally do is having to watch a bunch of dogs at once.
Yes. So
yeah,
but she had to work. So because they're all short staffed at the hospital. So
yeah,
like everywhere else, I'm sure. But
yeah, can't get anybody to work anymore.
That's
but
right.
Andy, it's your first concert in 2 years since the previous Koe Wetzel show.
Yeah, I like to double it up on some Wetzel and some Wetzel.
Double the Koe. So let's talk about the concert for a little bit. Before we get into the show, let's talk about the venue, because the venue difference between our first Koe show in like 2019 versus 2022, very different experiences, right? Like 2019, we traveled to Virginia Beach. It was a handful of us. We got a hotel room for the night. We went, and there was like probably 700 people there max.
Wasn't the last one in Raleigh?
The last one we went to, yes, but I'm talking about the first one.
Oh, the first one
we ever went
to.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the very first one we ever went to, there was like 700 people, 800 people max.
That
small
whole
venue
building
indoors.
was probably the size of the stage of the last one we went to.
Yes, yeah, it definitely was, because it was crazy, because at that show, it was only the hardcore fans who had been listening, since presumably the Noise Complaint record, and so everybody, it was much rowdier. I would say way rowdier. It was there was also no lines for the bathroom or the bar at that point. Whereas like flip that to now, like Red Hat had 6,000 people there. It was a ton of the lines for the bathroom were out of control. It ran out of beer halfway through.
Yeah, it's unacceptable.
Yeah, that's why I hate. It's good for an artist when they get that big, but I hate it when they get that big, because selfishly, I like the small venues where there's no line for the bathroom or the bar, and you're right up on the stage for like $30.
The rocking's better in the small room where everybody gets jumping and hyping everything. It's litter.
Pretty much. I mean, that's where I always say, like, I felt like those older shows back then were rowdier than the one at Red Hat.
Yeah, I felt like it too. I feel like the crowd at Red Hat wasn't as. Well, granted, it's going to be fewer hardcore fans at the bigger shows in percentage to the total crowd, but I didn't see that many people getting as litified as they did at Virginia Beach. I would like to trademark that new word that I just invented.
I think that's totally fair. The comment you made, not the new trademark word.
Isn't it just
marked word?
Isn't litter just trash?
No, he said litified, not litterified.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like people were way drunker in Virginia Beach than they were at Red Hat.
Well, Andy, you were also way drunker in Virginia Beach than you were at Red Hat.
Accurate, but there was more people jumping at Virginia Beach, rocking out, than was per se at Red Hat.
Yeah, it wasn't a mosh pit, but it was closer to a mosh pit than anything that ever happened at Virginia Beach than at Red Hat, because there was a couple moments, Andy. I don't know if you had this feeling, but I felt like the people didn't really want to be near our group as much, which worked out for us because people backed away from us. We had more room, but because we were jumping all around and everything, more
at
so
Virginia
than
Beach.
No. At Red Hat.
Yes, I concur. Yeah,
we were jumping all around,
thing.
and people were kind of backing away and just standing there with their boyfriend or their girlfriend, and they were just
that's what made
swaying.
Virginia Beach so much better is everybody was on the same level, and
everybody was acting crazy. Yeah,
electric. That's the way you would describe it.
Oh, very much so. I think this is going to happen when somebody gets to be able to fill out 6,000 tickets. But I think the thing that the venue needs to work on is, good gosh, it's the second straight show I've been there and they ran out of beer halfway through the concert.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that.
They have like a few here and there of like Bud Lights, but that's it.
I don't understand how you could. Do you know how many tickets you sold? You know how many people showing up? Math's not hard.
No, seriously. And then the thing about that too, as me and this random dude that was in line, we're talking about, there's a lot of crossover between the Parker McCollum show and the Koe Wetzel show, but it's a different vibe at the Koe Wetzel show. And if they ran out at the Parker show, they should have known they were going to run out at the Koe show. I feel like people are going to get a little bit crazier at that one than they do going to see Parker McCollum.
Why don't they just contract or one of these distributing companies to just handle that?
They should. I mean, this is, like I said, second straight time this happened. I'm going to be there this Friday to see Turnpike. So I'm looking forward to that. Turnpike's back.
Yeah.
Get to see them again, but we'll see how it goes this time.
Run out of beer again.
Yeah. The bathroom lines are bad. The beer lines are bad, but like, I don't know how much of that is actually fixable with the infrastructure and the amount of people.
The beer is easy fixable. They only had like 3 people serving like one section. I mean, there's they could easily have more servers than that.
Yeah. Which it gets back to, they don't have enough people to work.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
But that's the difference in the venue. I do feel like we were the rowdier ones, especially, I'm not going to name names, but one of our friends showed up drunk to the show. Classic, hilarious. Like he was having a good time. But
we were also, one in our crowd was also the least rowdiest there.
Oh yeah, and then that's true. We in our group we had some of the rowdiest, and then we had the other guy that was the least rowdiest because he just stood there and stared forward the entire time and just stared at the laser show.
He's listening when he knows we're talking about it.
He does.
Somebody might think he might have been tripped out on something. Stare at a laser show.
It was funny because like he didn't move. He just stood there the entire time. He was having a good time, but like he just didn't move.
Hey, we all have fun in different ways.
Very true. And then another friend of ours, again, not going to name names, but we took a video of them screaming out and your bitch ass stepdad too. It's been a little thing we've done for the last few shows. That's always a fun treat when Ragweed plays. But I think it's safe to say our crowd, even if other people didn't get as rowdy and have as much fun, I think it's safe to say our crowd had a fun time.
Yeah, that's definitely safe.
But well, that's the venue. Now to talk about the actual show. The show I thought was fantastic. The only complaint I can lodge is the first 2 songs, and this wasn't on Koe. This was on the sound guy once again at the venue. The first 2 songs, the guitars were too high up in the mix for where his vocals were. The vocals needed to be up a little higher, or the guitars dialed back. They finally fixed it by about the 3rd or 4th song, where the rest of the show was fine. But yeah, the first 2 songs, like when the choruses would happen, you had the dueling guitars and everything, like you couldn't hear the vocals that well. I was afraid that was how the whole show was going to be, and that would have been annoying.
Yeah, I could maybe put a little blame on Koe here because at times it did seem like the vocals got down, but it seemed like he may have been standing a little far from the mic. But as he said when he came out, we've been drinking all day, so bear with us. And I believe him.
I mean, the night before he was out at Tin Roof and walking around downtown Raleigh taking pictures with people. He brought him a Koe Wetzel flag that they now have hanging in the window at Tin Roof.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. I texted Andy and Clinton, told him that night, I was like, Koe Wetzel's at Tin Roof. I was like, it's 11:30 on a Wednesday and I'm pushing 30. I was like, but I really would like to go. But then I was like, update, I'm not going to go. I'm too old for that. I have work in the morning.
Was Tin Roof a college bar?
More or less, but not totally. But that's a lot of the people that go there. But on a Wednesday, yes, it 100% is. But then Clint texted me the next day, and he was like, "Dude, I was asleep, but if I was awake, I was getting in the truck, and me and you were going."
Yeah, it's 11:30. I'd have been asleep.
No.
So yeah, that's believable.
Yeah, Andy. So Andy, what were your thoughts on the like the set list and everything? Because I thought the set list was different than what we had been accustomed to, which I can say I appreciate it because I don't like hearing the same show every time I go to see somebody.
Yeah, I thought the set list was pretty good. He played a song from every album.
Yeah,
which I think that was the first time I'd heard him play something from Out on Parole. So
right.
That was cool. Some of the new songs I think that we said that we thought would be a little bit better pre-album coming out, like April Showers, I didn't think was quite as good as we thought it would be live, but Cabo was very sick live, so that kind of made up for it. But yeah, the set list was a really good mix throughout all the albums. I thought that was. Actually, this person I probably ever said this is that I kind of actually would have wished you would have played some of the newer songs more. And I'm typically opposite of that, but maybe a few more newer songs. But then again, I wouldn't really want to give up. I would maybe just play longer and get some of the newer songs. But I forgot to check to see how long he even played for.
It was roughly 90 minutes, just like most headliners do. Not most people don't pull an Eric Church and play 2.5 hours, but I agree.
Or
Cabo,
Wade Bowen.
Or yeah, but Andy, as you said earlier in the show, Cabo was litified.
Litified.
That one I did not. That's the song that's grown on me because like when the album first came out, I didn't really dig it like I do now, but I've grown to really like it, where that tends to be the one I start with. And then that one was just a banger live. So I was pleasantly surprised by that. I think it's because of the content of the song. You know, the crowd, it plays to his crowd very well. It's very much an old row, Barstool, like South kind of crowd, like not really like traditional Barstool, but like more like old row kind of crowd at a Koe Wetzel show.
Any rowdy person, I feel.
Yeah. It's like I noticed it at the Parker McCollum show. The amount of old row shirts during the summer at a Parker show, and it's the same crowd roughly for the Koe shows, was too many to count. So I think that it's kind of the same fan base in a lot of ways. Because Koe was hanging out with the old row founder at the Auburn Rodeo the other day. So
I do wish he'd played Money Spent. I think that would have been one of the better songs live off the album. I think
maybe it definitely would have fit the rock kind of setting. So
I always start with that song too because Cabo's right after it. So good place to start.
Yeah, I was glad that he hit the high notes. With like Ragweed. That's always a great one to hear live. Obviously, ended the show February 28th. It was cool hearing, like you said, a song I can drink to because I don't think he's ever played that at any of the shows we went to.
No, and actually
3 years ago.
Not that many people appeared to know that one.
Yeah, that's how we could tell we were the old guys at the Koe Wetzel show. Was nobody really knew a song I could drink to.
It's a classic.
Oh yeah. But the show was good. I don't really have any major complaints from the actual concert part. Mine was just kind of lodged mainly with the venue. But then we unfortunately missed Colby Cooper's entire set. And this is the biggest travesty of the night. I was under the impression. Yeah, I agree. It should be a crime. I was under the impression that Colby Cooper was going to be the middle act and that Trey Lewis, the Down in Dallas guy, was going to be the opener.
It makes sense.
Well, we get there.
Fair assumption.
And Colby Cooper had just gotten off the stage and Trey Lewis was playing. And he was the middle act. And I'm not lying to you, Kyle, when I say that this Joker only played covers. If I wanted to hear someone play every 90s and 2000s country song cover, I would have just gone to Tin Roof instead of going to the concert.
I mean, he really only has like one
songs.
song. Yeah. He doesn't have much.
Which
Colby
is why
Cooper has a lot.
Oh, yeah. He's got, a couple, 2 or 3 records. Like, this is why he shouldn't have been the middle act, though. He should have been the opener. That was a crime.
It kept making me madder, too, when he was doing his Dick Down in Dallas song. And he kept saying, "You guys want to do it again?" I was like, buddy, if you got to sing the song twice, maybe you shouldn't be playing second.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think of is they wanted him to sing that with Koe. Did they sing that with Koe?
No, it did not.
No.
Like, I don't even
So
know.
you've-
I don't even know if they really. I'm sure like they hung out, some backstage because I mean that's what artists a lot of times do. But I don't even know how well they even know each other. But
That's the only thing I can even think of.
But you have to assume. I could be wrong on this. You have to assume that Koe and Colby Cooper have crossed paths more than Koe and Trey Lewis.
I would assume that.
I mean, they're both Texas guys coming from the same music scene originally, but Kyle, Andy's not even exaggerating when he said that Trey Lewis, you know how it's customary for a big song that has a big sing-along chorus. People are like, one more time, they'll sing the chorus again. He did it 3 times. Like he kept saying one more time 3 times. Like, and it was because that's the only song he has. And don't get me wrong, I think the song is
like
funny.
2 original songs.
I don't dislike the song because I think it's funny, but like, dude, like shouldn't have been the middle act. That was messed up.
Yeah, that. I don't even think I know another Trey Lewis song.
I've heard others, but nothing really sticks with me. Wouldn't have been what I would have anticipated.
I'll look it up, see if I could even actually tell you what it even is. Because I heard the other song. I was like, this is original.
And see, I don't even think the crowd reacted to the Raleigh line as well as he probably anticipated that they would.
I anticipated it would have been more than what it was.
Yeah, it really wasn't at all what you would think. In the city that you're in, that you're playing in, you have a line about it in the song, and then nobody really says anything about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think Colby Cooper's bigger than him.
No, definitely much bigger artist.
That song is popular, at
least in our world.
Still, I think I actually let's just see here. We'll actually give it a look. Dick Down in Dallas has 88 million. His next has 6.
Yeah.
His second song has 6 compared to 88 million. And It Ain't Me's got 20 million, 16 million, 3 million, 7 million with Colby Cooper. So that's far. People know more than one song of him by far.
Yeah. It's just Trey Lewis has that one really big song that
I'm going to go ahead and call it now. One hit wonder.
Oh, probably. Because the problem with starting off with a song like Dick Down in Dallas is
you don't have anything else.
Well, it's not just that. It's like you're not going to really be taken seriously with your more serious music if that's the reason everybody knows you. Like I think last episode I referred to him as the Dick Down in Dallas guy.
Yeah,
that's probably not what you want to be labeled at. I mean, now, granted, made him a bunch of money, and he can probably be like, hey, it's better than what I maybe would have gotten. Fair enough, but I don't think you want to be labeled as the Dick Down in Dallas guy.
You're going down the Wheeler Walker Jr. route, and I don't know that that's going to be able to be done again.
No, but I mean, even if it is, the difference is Wheeler Walker Jr., that's not even his name, and he's a comedian that decided to play a character. And Trey Lewis just decided to write a song called Dick Down in Dallas.
Yeah.
I don't know. It definitely was not what I expected. Yeah. And then there was this one kid, probably 21, 22 years old, because, dude, I learned in all the lines for the beer in the bathroom that we were the oldest people in there.
Happens to everybody eventually.
Yeah. But there's one guy he was like, have you seen Koe before? And I was like, yeah, I saw him years ago. Only, less than 1,000 people. He was, that's crazy. He goes, I saw Trey Lewis at a bar one time. I was like, that's cool, man. You probably can see him there again.
That's harsh.
I mean, it's true though.
Yeah, it is. But it's funny.
Yeah.
I see him again. Yeah.
But overall, the concert was fun. I don't want to act like that put a damper on the night by any means.
Yeah, it was a fun night. Just thought of this. Aside from Charlotte, Koe typically has good openers. I mean, we had Chris Colston at the first show, Reed Southall at the last one we went to. I mean, he's usually killing it on the openers, and Colby Cooper is a killer opener, and then somebody screws it up.
Yeah, because even the Charlotte show, they just had the house band that plays at Coyote Joe's be the opener, which is fine. That's like if somebody played at the Bowery in Myrtle Beach, the Headhunters or whatever their name are, they're probably going to would be the opener, right? So that's fine at Coyote Joe's.
Makes sense.
But I just don't. I don't know who was in charge of that decision, putting Trey Lewis second because of one song. Like if he had played like a 30-minute set and then he ended with that, that would have been perfectly fine.
The only exception I will give would have been maybe Kobe Cooper for some reason had to leave early, so he couldn't play second, or maybe Trey Lewis hadn't showed up yet, and it was either Kobe Cooper or nobody.
Maybe we're looking at this wrong, and maybe we just live in our own world so much that we are more aware of Colby Cooper than the general populace in North Carolina. That's a possibility too.
Nah, either way, they're still wrong.
But at the end of the day, people are not coming to see the opener. There were 6,000 people there because they came to see Koe Wetzel.
I have showed up places. I mean, very likely, but I will say I have showed up to see the opener before and have left for the main act.
Yeah, we did that with John Party.
We showed up to see John Party and walked out on Kip Moore.
Which I kind of regret walking out on Kip Moore.
Yeah, I regret that. I think I might have flipped him the bird too. So
no, I don't. Why would you give him the bird?
It's a normal thing to me to do to about anybody. Nothing against him. It's just there's a person there that I can flip off. So generally.
Now, I remember specifically another time where, Andy, I think you were with us. No, you may have not been with us for this one because you met up with us the next day. We went to go see Logan Mize at City Limits. Were you there?
No, I wasn't there.
Okay. So, yeah, we went to go see Logan Mize. He was opening for Kanan Smith. We all, like me, Chase, Drew, and James all went just to see Logan Mize. We left in the middle of Kanan Smith's set, and City Limits was not a big bar, right? Chase stands there, and Chase was like, old school Chase, not current, not current Chase. He was old school Chase. He had probably had one too many Miller Lights at that point, and he stands there on the little step where he's lifted up above the crowd by the bar, directly across from the stage. And as we're walking out, he gives the thumbs up to Kanan Smith and then instantly turns it down. And Kanan Smith, that's worse than giving somebody the finger.
He gave him the gladiator thumb.
He gives him the thumbs up and then goes down like that. And then Kanan Smith stays singing but stops playing guitar and looks at us and gives us the double birds as we're walking out. And Chase is just dying laughing. He's like, like that on his way out the door.
I'm giving the Emperor Nero.
Yeah. One of the top 5 funniest things Chase ever did.
That is.
It makes it better savage. Too that he gave him the double birds because that means he won.
Oh yeah, because he definitely saw him and he reacted. That's all Chase wanted.
Big L on that guy's part.
Oh yeah, he caught the L that night. But I'm telling you, it was hilarious because Chase just stood there, thumbs up, and then just turns it down dramatically and just staring right into the guy's eyes.
Absolute savage.
Yep. But
he struck a nerve there. That's funny.
Oh, no doubt. But either way, Koe Wetzel show, definitely if he's on tour and you got a chance to go see him because it was a hell of a show. It's always a fun time. Definitely a rock and roll show. And then he did shout out Go Pack at one point, which got the crowd going.
They lost though.
We didn't play last week.
Oh shit! I thought you meant Green Bay Packers.
No. I'm talking about the Wolf Pack. Why would anybody shout out the Green Bay Packers in North Carolina?
There's a lot of Fairweather fans,
Sure.
There's a lot of cheeseheads in North Carolina.
Sure.
I don't know. I really don't know why my head went to Green Bay. I don't know why I did. Brain fart on my part. I don't know.
Somebody singing about Aaron Rodgers.
I enjoyed watching just them struggle.
Yeah, I didn't watch. Did not see it. I heard about it.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Am I back now? I know I froze for a second.
I didn't know you froze. I just thought I just didn't have anything to say.
I was sitting there like this.
Oh, it's not good.
Yeah, I could hear everything y'all were saying. My computer was just on the fritz, but either way, go see Koe Wetzel. Definitely a fun show. All right, moving into next thing we have today is Andy's boy released an EP. Bailey Zimmerman, young guy. I think he's in his early 20s. I believe he has a pretty big TikTok following, but he released a 9-song, really 8-song EP because the first one has an intro. We wanted to we listened to it over the weekend, kind of wanted to give some thoughts on this because I know that he's been kind of blowing up. I see people posting about him all the time. So, I mean,
he's on all the playlists.
Yeah, he's on all the playlists. If he's in the public consciousness, especially around like people that we interact with, I figured it was worth bringing up. And I know that we've covered, a couple of his songs on the song roundups, 6-pack song roundups here and there. But this was like his debut EP. Sonically though, I really do think I was telling Kyle, Andy, before we started recording that outside of like 1 or maybe 2 songs, it really is kind of a, more like rock, but like kind of like pop rock sound with some tinges of country. And I think that in some ways that fits his voice better, in my opinion.
That was when I was first giving this a listen. You're fairly actually spot on. I don't really hear much country, and it sounds like more something like your slower rock songs from like 2010 ish. Yeah. But like for the slower songs, I think he has to do it different because I don't think his voice could do, while I don't necessarily like the slower songs, but I don't know what he could have done different. He doesn't have the voice to do that style. He's got to do something. He's got to try something different.
Yeah. I mean, he's not a country crooner by any means, but so even like that's why I said only tinges of country music, because there were moments in some of those songs where there would be like a pedal steel solo just kind of thrown in there. And then there was one moment where there was a brief like fiddle breakdown as like a transition into the next verse, which was interesting to hear with this style of music. But it really is kind of like, pop rock kind of sound, which, get this out of the way. As I always do when we cover stuff like this. Is it country? Not really, but not much is these days. So we're going to get that out of the way and be like, now question is it good? I think that we'll go around the room here with my overall thoughts on it. I think
I'll throw a comment on what you just said before we move on from that. I'm curious because, the first songs that really blew up for him were rock songs. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if he threw some of these country elements in because he got thrown in all the country playlists. I wonder if that was like when they made the EP, they put some more country elements in because they were getting on the country playlist.
Well, I think he was marketing himself and he's being marketed to a country audience. I don't think that this was like, he was a rock artist that just got put on the playlist. I think he is definitely being, like for instance, he's signed to Warner Music Nashville. So they're going to market him to a country audience.
Same thing with Koe, though.
Same thing with Koe, yeah. But the thing is about it, I think that he added, I don't want to say they just, because I wasn't involved in the record making process, obviously, but I want to say like they included some of the more countryer moments because that kind of is the trend now in country in the Luke Combs era, and is some more like rootsy kind of like countryer sounding stuff on the radio compared to what it was, say 3-5 years ago. A couple of these songs of his reminds me of like hurricane era Luke Combs rather than current era Luke Combs, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But so let's talk about, is it that country in the grand scheme of things? No, but not much is in the mainstream, which doesn't really piss us off to the extent that it does some people. So it's another question we always like, is it good? I think there are good moments, and I think that it's not a bad EP. I think I'm not going to sit here and act like I think it's terrible, because I don't think it's terrible. There are a handful of songs on here that I really do like. I think for me, I think that my overall sentiment is fine. It's not bad, but it's got some good moments. I think the songwriting at times leaves a little to be desired, but at the same time, he's like 21, 22 years old. So he's got plenty of time to develop his songwriting chops. I don't think the songwriting is there right now. And that's just like constructive criticism. But like I said, I don't think it's bad. I would listen to it if it comes on. I wouldn't change the radio.
I agree with, actually, I would completely agree with everything you said, basically. And to add, like from the songwriting aspect, there's certain aspect. it feels like the song's kind of half done. Good idea that kind of really just didn't ever show itself. But I can say one of the things I know is me and Kyle have both said before is it like it leaves room for improvement.
Yes.
If he can improve, it's a good start. I mean, it's his first EP, so I mean, it leaves room to build and not you come out too hot and never top it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that too. We're actually we're more on the same page than we usually are on these reviews. But I'm with you on that because, like I said, I don't want to like trash it and act like it's bad because it's not bad. I think that he has talent, and I think that he is going to get better because if you look at a lot of these artists when they put out stuff when they're 21, 22, 23, it's not as good as what they eventually get into when they get closer to 30. And I think it's unfair it's unfair to, but even he is like 28. So it's unfair to expect that from somebody that young. I think that this is a good start. There's stuff here that I definitely like. I think that some of the heartbreak songs that he has on here, because that's kind of a theme that kind of runs through this. I think that it needs to be fleshed out a little more. It's a little generic, I guess. The difference between a lot of those and say like a Rock and a Hard Place has a sing-songy kind of like anthemic chorus, and I think that works. I really like that song because I think that works. Some of the other stuff I think is.
I was going to save my examples for a little bit later. I've got some good backing examples.
Yeah, that's fair. Kyle, what do you think?
I would call this. So here's how I would compare. We view Zach Bryan as like HBO, Showtime, the best of modern television. Skinamax too. Yeah, that was back when I was in my younger days. Late at night, but
back when he was the porn prince, not the porn king.
That's right. Now we're getting there. But yeah, he's like the best of TV. HBO, Showtime, best writing, best plot lines and stories. This is kind of like network television. It's fine. But, it's
USA Network.
Yeah, it's USA Network. It's Rizzoli and Isles, You'll watch it when you're at home sick or, or just at home during the day, you just watch it. It's, I would say it's just it's certainly easy listening.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't have to feel like I'm at a dissertation of a thesis like I do when I'm at Zach Bryan, listening to a Zach Bryan album. And missing, one verse that changes, the whole tune of the song. It's not bad. I have no real complaints on it. I think he sounds better the heavier the music gets.
I agree.
I don't think he, like Andy said, the slow songs, not really for him. He needs to have an upbeat tempo, a little heavier guitar. I think his voice works better with a little heavier guitar, a little louder drums, faster beat. That's just my opinion. But, it's just, like I said, it's just network television. There's nothing wrong with it.
No. I mean, I think that he's going to be very. Go ahead.
But it's not Game of Thrones the first 6 seasons.
USA Network is actually that's actually a really good. It's not like you're going to really go out of your way to watch USA Network, but if you're watching it, no complaints. Perfectly fine sitting here watching some Criminal Minds, NCIS, or whatever.
Yeah, you're not changing the channel. It's just you're just kind of mindless watching.
And look, NCIS has been around forever. Sorry.
Yeah, you could. A lot of people would love to be NCIS. There's a lot of shows that don't ever make it to be NCIS.
So I think that he already is popular, especially with the female demographic. Because that's just anecdotally from people that I know, just from social media, people that I've talked to that are girls our age on down to like early to mid 20s. They tend to really, really like this guy. That bodes well for his popularity moving forward. I think that he's, like I said, I think he's just young and I think he's going to get better. I think some of the appeal though that he has vocally, I've heard Grady Smith say this when he first covered one of his songs, and I think he's spot on with it. When Morgan Wallen kind of gets real, like the growl in his voice and gets real up tempo, and it kind of explores that part of his register when he's singing. It has a similar quality to what Bailey Zimmerman does. And I think that that's kind of the line of, with Wallen's popularity, I think that's probably why Bailey Zimmerman has caught fire too, because they're not the exact same, but there is a similar quality in like kind of that rock sound in their voice. Wallen just has a little bit more versatility where he can do the country or slower stuff. But I do think that Grady Smith, is a pretty insightful guy with that stuff. He covers a lot of mainstream. I think he's got a really good point for that.
I don't know. I don't know if I would agree with that one.
Explain why.
Bailey Zimmerman's voice to me sounds like more like 2005 to 2010 rock vocals, and I don't hear that from Morgan Wallen. Morgan Wallen has a great voice, but
that's not what Grady said though. He didn't say they sound similar. He said they have a similar quality. I didn't say that. Neither did he. What I'm saying is they have a similar quality of that, like that. Wallen, it doesn't have a 100% country voice. Was what Grady's point was. I do agree with that, but I see what you're saying though. I understand your point.
All right. Well, I would say, all right, we'll go with this. Whether I'm right or this is a fair comparison, I would say Bailey Zimmerman sounds as much like Morgan Wallen as Morgan Wallen does Chris Stapleton. That's how I would see it. That's how I see it.
I was with you until that comment. I think that they are way more similar in the quality of like how they sing than I think that Wallen and Stapleton are very, very far apart on that. Stapleton's very bluesy.
I would say I would say like Zach Bryan's growl is far more simple. That when he does that type of stuff, far more similar to Morgan Wallen than Bailey Zimmerman is.
But I think you're missing what I'm saying, though. I'm not saying they sound alike or that they have the same growl. I'm saying they have.
Styling.
It's the same. More so, it's the same appeal, but at the same time, I also think that Wallen and Zach Bryan having that same kind of like ability to do that is part of why they're popular now. Zach Bryan just also is a very, very good songwriter that's resonated with people. But just because someone has a similar quality doesn't mean they sound the same. Is my point.
Yeah, but I'm saying even the similar qualities. I don't hear it. I don't see that.
It's fair. If you don't hear it, you don't hear it. I think it's there, but if you don't hear it, you don't hear it. I was waiting for Kyle to say something.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm just lost. I don't know how we got to Chris Stapleton on Bailey Zimmerman. I had trouble following that line of thought.
No. But either way, I think we're kind of all on pretty much the same page on overall thoughts on this. So let's go with what's your 3 favorite songs, Andy?
I'm gonna be Fall in Love because it's the rockier sound. I like Where It Ends, very similar to that. And From the Fall I thought that was one of the better written songs for the album. That I feel like the idea of that song got flushed out and came out well.
Yeah. Kyle?
I like Rockin' a Hard Place. It's just the one I've heard the most. I also like Where It Ends. And I like the second half of Trainwreck. I don't like the first half. I like the second half. From the Fall's fine. The second half of Trainwreck, he does pretty good with slower vocals, but the music is a lot louder. And he also, at the very end of that song, I think he does a very good job with the little raspiness of his voice.
Mm-hmm.
Because he starts to really get into it, and you got the I don't know the technical musical term for it. It's got a build up at the end, right for the end of the song. I don't know what that's technically called, but he does a really good job of using, the raspiness of his voice that I think people like we just talked about. It fits the end of that song. First half of the song's not very good, in my opinion, because it's just I don't know. I don't really like the slow tempo with his voice. But the second half's great.
Yeah. I think for me, it's pretty clear cut. From the Fall, I think is probably the best song. It's also the most different song on the EP. I like that it has a little bit countryer production. I think it's one of the better written songs on the record. Then second is A Rock and a Hard Place. I've liked this one since I heard it. This is one of those more like mainstream, pop leaning country songs that I think works, and I think has a very anthemic chorus, and I like the storyline of the song. And then third is Fall in Love. I think that's a solid song too. I'm not big on Where It Ends. I think the song's generic as shit. It's not a shitty song. It's just very generic.
I like the sound of it.
But see, I think I'll save it for the next segment. But definitely for me, it's From the Fall, Rockin' Our Place, and Fall in Love are the three that I like the most. But all right, so let's go with three things we didn't like on the EP.
May I go first?
Or Kyle?
I didn't like, we've been spoiled by Koe Wetzel's intros and outros. I didn't like the intro. I mean, it's fine, but just been spoiled. Kind of wanted something other than, this is Bailey Zimmerman. Obviously, we know it's Bailey Zimmerman. Find your name on Spotify, Apple Music. We know who you are. You don't have to tell us. Your name's on the title on the album, so that was kind of let down. But and then the first two songs, not very hot on, Waiting and Never Leave. And actually, I'll take that back. House Fire is probably the worst.
House on Fire.
Excuse me. Yeah.
I didn't like the kind of like boot stomping, almost like, how would you classify that, Andy? We've talked about it before. It is kind of like very swampy kind of intro. I don't really like swampy sounding songs that much.
You don't like Louisiana Beauty Queen from American Aquarium. I do like. I think that song's good live.
See, I that's my bathroom song for American Aquarium. I always take a piss when they play that.
It's good. It's a good way to call that song.
Yeah, I mean, every band has a couple. Turnpike's probably the one that really doesn't. So I'm gonna have to really find some strategic times to take a piss on Friday. But every band has like piss break songs, and that is Louisiana Beauty Queen is that for American Aquarium for me. And I just don't like that kind of swampy Louisiana kind of.
Way too slow. Song's so slow.
It just doesn't
like
tickle
gothic feel a little bit too.
But House on Fire gets better as it goes on. Was the point I was trying to get at. But I understand it. What you mean?
Yeah, those are three things I don't like.
I'll go next. I think that the songwriting is a little light, but I don't want to be too harsh on it because I do think that it's because he's young. He's starting out, and I think that's going to get better. I think sonically there is a similar thing that I think a lot of this EP just sounds too much alike.
So he's got the Riley Green problem.
Yeah, but see, I'm a little bit not as harsh on Riley with that because I like country better than this sound. So it's like Riley's country sound is like it's right up my alley. So it's like I'm a little bit more forgiving. It's just biases. But I think that's why I don't like Where It Ends as much as y'all, because I just think that it sounds too much like Fall in Love sonically, and which sounds like another song on the record sonically, which sounds like another record on the song on the record sonically. I think but I mean, like I said, I'm not trying to go press hard on these things because his first EP's released, and I think he's got talent. And then I just don't. Oh, that was my third one. It was Where It Ends. It was the intro. You said it. I wanted to piggyback off you on that. The intro is it's meh. Like I get that he was being heartfelt with these are things that I've experienced, and I appreciate that. But it's like I'm one of those people. If you're gonna do an intro, I want it to be funny, and I think maybe that's just says something about me. I'm like, entertain me. But
or if you're going to do an intro, just go balls to the wall, like Van Halen style.
Yeah.
And just get your guitars to just have a schizophrenic attack on the guitar.
Yeah.
Just something.
Right.
I mean, especially because he's kind of leaning into more rock. You could easily have done something where you throw a 10, 15-second guitar solo and a drum solo and you roll right in. But if you're going to do that, you got to have an upbeat song right after it. You can't go into something.
It's got to be All Rise, like Barney Stinson's Get Psych mix.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, intro's kind of a letdown.
All right, Andy, 3 things you didn't like.
For start, I actually kind of did like the intro. For the thing that Logan appreciates about it, I did like that. Now, do I want him to do it again? No. It's different. You do it once, I don't want to do this again. But I thought this once, and I thought it did the way that the music subtly, it was more quieter into the first song. It's different. It's not, but I don't want to do it done again. But we'll start with, we already touched on it, but the slower songs, I didn't like them. I'm not going to criticize him. He doesn't have the voice to do the slower songs. I would have rather him just not had them on there and had the more upbeat songs, but I don't know if the EP would really work being all rock upbeat. So I don't personally like it, but I have to give him a pass on it because it may have actually been necessary. Next, Trainwreck is a song I didn't like. It's the writing of it. I don't like the O's or whatever in that song. I don't like that, but it's a great idea, but that was the one that really stood out to me to be an unfinished song, because he's all, he's got it going, as I'm headed off the 2 rails, he's like, my engine's on fire, burning normal, but then he says burning these tires. Well, trains don't have tires, and he kept losing his train analogies in the song, which I would have thought would have been good if he could have more just stayed on topic. But I feel like he kind of ran out of ideas for this idea, which, some more time, a little more experience maybe would have helped that a little bit. And I don't really actually know if I have a third. Well, I'll give you a third. I would actually say it doesn't belong on country playlist. I don't like that, but that's just the way it's going nowadays. It's the way she goes.
Been that way for a while, but what are you going to do? All right, let's close it out with 3 things we liked. I'll kick it off where while I'm not a big fan of the song, I do think I like the humor in the song Where It Ends being where the EP ends. I think that's funny on the track listing and the sequencing. I find that kind of funny.
I wonder if that's on purpose.
Oh, it has to be. Like, because this is where it ends. I found that funny. So that was kind of cool. Like I said, I think Rockin' a Hard Place, I don't know if this is a radio singer or not, but if it's not, it should be. I think it would be a hit on the radio. I think it's a solid, mainstream song. So I like that one. And overall, I think the last thing I'm going to say that I liked is I think that he shows promise for future projects. Like I see glimpses of things where I think he can be a pretty good artist within the mainstream context. So this isn't like when I listen to Russell Dickerson and I'm just like, this is awful. I think that this guy definitely has has potential to be pretty good in the mainstream.
Yeah. I didn't even really pay that much attention to the lyrics in Trainwreck, Andy. I just kind of like the second half of the song, just sonically. I would honestly, yeah. It didn't need to be in a country playlist. It could certainly be in the same playlist as a Colby Cooper or Koe Wetzel.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it shows promise. Like I said, it's just daytime. It's just network television. It's fine. That doesn't mean network television can't come out with a banger. Look at Breaking Bad. So I mean, he could be that, or could be some more NCIS. Nothing wrong with either one. I'm not gonna be too harsh. I'm just gonna take the middle of the road approach, and we're gonna wait and see. So I like it. I mean, nothing. I don't hate anything on the album.
Yeah, there's nothing that made me mad by any means.
Don't really love anything either, but I'm not mad if I hear somebody playing this on their speaker at the beach or a tailgate.
Yeah,
I mean, it's fine. If you're DJing at a party or a little get together, fine with this.
Yeah.
So,
Andy,
I like the rock sound. He sounds like Hinder, and I like Hinder quite a bit. So
that's a great comparison. I kept trying to figure out who he reminded me of. Yeah, that's a great one. I couldn't place a name.
I would say for a starting EP, I like I don't know if this is on purpose. I don't really think it is, but I like that it left some room to grow, to improve. I think, I don't think it was on purpose, but I like it if it was. And I do. I like. I don't like TikTok, so we'll go ahead and get that out of the way. But I like that there's a video on the top of the EP on Spotify that I've never seen anybody taking the full advantage of, like the new features on Spotify. And I do like that he's doing that, but I don't like TikTok. So
is that on mobile only?
I don't know. It's on my Spotify. There's a video. When you click on the EP, there's a video at the top of it.
The only time I use Spotify on my phone, it's always hooked to Apple CarPlay, and it doesn't do the, how some songs have just like a clip of a music video.
Yeah.
It doesn't do it on Apple CarPlay.
You have to hit the little car in the top right corner and hit in car mode, and then you'll be able to see it. Yeah. You can also permanently turn that off. I've been meaning to do that because I hate car mode. Yeah.
I've just never done it and never thought about it. But I never see the little clippets because I don't ever watch it on my phone.
Yeah.
Whatever this is, it's like a video of him talking about. I actually didn't watch it, but I like that he's taking advantage of this. I know he says this is my EP or whatever. It may be the same as the intro, which is it's possible it's the same as the intro, but I like that that's up there. It's taking advantage of the new technology I don't see people doing. And I don't like technology. So interesting for me to say.
When you were talking about how you two were like, I really like the rock sound, reminds me of Hinder. Dating back to that episode that Bowling for Soup was talked about on here, the listeners are probably like, I'm starting to wonder, because you two like specifically have talked about 2000s rock so much, and then I've contributed to that by bringing up like the Hardy stuff. But like people are probably wondering, for this to be called Country and Cold Cans, these guys don't really like. I don't know if they like country music too much.
I grew up listening to
Turnpike album.
Well, I grew up listening to 90s country, and then I went to a heavy metal phase. Yeah. But I actually listened for like 4 hours a day in the work truck on the 2000s rock playlist I have, trying to find somebody he reminded me of. I'm not going 4 hours. It was before lunch, probably 2.5, going on 3. But
yeah,
I just couldn't find anybody. I'm glad you said Hinder, because that's probably the closest one I hear.
Yeah, well, he's available wherever streaming is available. Apple Podcast, Spotify. I mean, everybody knows that at these points, but that's our take on Bailey Zimmerman's EP, Leave the Light On. Like I said, the Koe Show was a lot of fun. Covered the EP. So for this episode of Country Call Cans, give us 5 stars, a great review. I'm Logan, sitting here with Trucker Andy and Kyle, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.